The year was 1990, and the Detroit Pistons were on top of the basketball world. Fresh off their first NBA championship, the Bad Boys were hungry for more. Led by the fierce backcourt duo of Isiah Thomas and Joe Dumars, the Pistons dominated the 1989-90 regular season. Thomas averaged 18.4 points and 9.4 assists per game, while Dumars contributed 17.8 points and 4.9 assists. But it wasn't just about offense. Dennis Rodman, the human rebounding machine, pulled down an incredible 9.7 rebounds per game while coming off the bench. His energy and defensive intensity embodied the Pistons' gritty style of play. Center Bill Laimbeer anchored the defense, averaging 9.6 rebounds and providing the physical presence that made opponents think twice about driving to the basket. The Pistons' relentless approach paid off. They finished the regular season with an impressive 59-23 record, good for first place in the Central Division and the best record in the Eastern Conference. Some standout performances included a 107-96 victory over the Bulls on December 19th, where Isiah Thomas dropped 33 points. A nail-biting 94-93 win against the Celtics on January 13th, with Joe Dumars scoring the game-winning basket. And a dominant 116-88 blowout of the Lakers on February 4th, showcasing the team's championship potential. Playing in front of packed crowds at the Palace of Auburn Hills, the Pistons built an incredible 35-6 home record. Their tenacious defense held opponents to just 98.3 points per game, the third best in the league. As the 1990 playoffs approached, one question remained. Could the Bad Boys fight their way to a second straight title? With the regular season behind them, the Detroit Pistons set their sights on defending their NBA title. Their path through the Eastern Conference would prove to be a true test of their championship mettle. In the first round, the Pistons faced the Indiana Pacers. The Pistons' first challenge came from the upstart Indiana Pacers, led by Reggie Miller. Despite the Pacers' best efforts, Detroit's championship experience shone through. Game 1 saw the Pistons dominate with a 104-92 victory, with Joe Dumars leading the charge with 25 points. The Pacers fought back in Game 2, but Isiah Thomas's clutch performance sealed a narrow 100-87 win for Detroit. In Game 3, the Pistons regrouped and closed out the series convincing 108-96 victory, led by Isiah Thomas's 20. The semifinals brought a tougher challenge in the form of the Patrick Ewing and the New York Knicks. This series would be a true test of the Pistons' grit and determination. Games 1 and 2 were played at the Palace of Auburn Hills. In Game 1, the Pistons would win 112-77, led by Isiah Thomas's 21 points and Bill Laimbeer's 13 rebounds. In Game 2, the Pistons would win 104-97. This time, James Edwards led the Pistons with 32 points, and Isiah Thomas would add 12 assists. In Game 3 at Madison Square Garden, the Pistons lost 111-103. Isiah Thomas would again lead the Pistons with 20 points, and Dennis Rodman added 8 rebounds. In Game 4, the Pistons won 102-90, with James Edwards leading the Pistons with 19 points and Dennis Rodman adding 14 rebounds. In Game 5, the closeout game, the Pistons won 95-84. Mark Aguirre would lead the Pistons that night with 25 points, and Dennis Rodman added 11 rebounds. The 1990 NBA playoff series between the Detroit Pistons and Chicago Bulls was a pivotal moment in NBA history. The series took place in the Eastern Conference Finals, with the defending champion Detroit Pistons facing off against the up-and-coming Chicago Bulls. The Pistons had eliminated the Bulls from the playoffs in both 1998 and 1989. The Bulls, led by Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen, were seeking to overcome their nemesis and reach the NBA Finals for the first time. Jordan, in particular, had been frustrated by the Pistons' Jordan rules, which was a defensive strategy designed to physically challenge and contain him. The series was intense and closely contested. The Pistons won the first 2 games at home, but the Bulls fought back to win the next 2 in Chicago, tying the series at 2 games apiece. Detroit then won a crucial Game 5 at home, putting Chicago on the brink of elimination. In Game 6, back in Chicago, the Bulls forced a decisive Game 7 with a convincing win. However, Game 7 in Detroit saw the Pistons' experience and home court advantage prevail. They won 93-74, eliminating the Bulls for the third consecutive year. The 1990 series epitomized the physical, defensive-minded basketball of the late 80s and early 90s, and it remains a classic example of an intense rivalries that defined that era of the NBA. The 1990 NBA Finals was a championship series between the Detroit Pistons of the Eastern Conference and the Portland Trail Blazers of the Western Conference. The Portland Trail Blazers, coached by Rick Adelman, were making their first NBA Finals appearance since 1977. Their team was led by Clyde Drexler, Terry Porter, and Jerome Kersey, with solid contributions from players like Buck Williams and Kevin Duckworth. The series went to 5 games, with the Pistons ultimately prevailing 4-1. Game 1 was at the Palace of Auburn Hills, where the Pistons would win 105-99. Isiah Thomas led the Pistons with 33 points and 6 assists. Joe Dumars added 22 points for Detroit. Clyde Drexler led Portland with 23 points. And the Pistons defense held Portland to just 40.2% shooting from the field. Detroit pulled away in the fourth quarter after a close game through 3 periods. Game 2 saw the Trailblazers win 106-105 in overtime. Portland evened the series with a thrilling overtime victory. Clyde Drexler bounced back with 33 points, including key baskets in overtime. Terry Porter contributed with 24 points. Isiah Thomas again led Detroit with 31 points. Buck Williams had crucial offensive rebound and put back in the final seconds of overtime to secure the win for Portland. The series shifted to Portland, but the Pistons regained control, winning 121-106 in Game 3. Joe Dumars exploded for 33 points to lead Detroit. Isiah Thomas added 22 points and 8 assists. The Pistons bench outscored Portland's bench 25-9. Game 4, Pistons would win 112-109. Another close game saw the Pistons take a commanding 3-1 series lead. Isiah Thomas led all scorers with 32 points, and he added 5 assists. Joe Dumars would contribute with 26 points for Detroit. The Pistons overcame a 4-point deficit entering the fourth quarter. Detroit's ability to hit clutch free throws down the stretch sealed the win. In Game 5, the Pistons would win 92-90. The Pistons clinched their second straight championship in a tight contest. Vinnie Johnson hit the series-winning shot with 0.7 seconds left. Isiah Thomas capped off his Finals MVP performance with 29 points and 8 assists. The Pistons' victory marked their second consecutive NBA championship. Isiah Thomas was named NBA Finals MVP for his outstanding performance throughout the series. He averaged 27 points per game, 7 assists, and 5.2 rebounds. The series is remembered for Detroit's dominant defense and the emergence of Joe Dumars as the key offensive threat alongside Isiah Thomas. The Trailblazers, despite losing the series, gained valuable experience that would help them return to the NBA Finals 2 years later in 1992. The 1990 NBA Finals also marked the end of an era, as it was the last championship for the Bad Boys. The Pistons, before the Chicago Bulls began their dominance of the NBA in the 1990s. Isiah Thomas was named Finals MVP. The Bad Boys leader had cemented his place among the NBA's all-time greats. But this was far from a one-man show. Joe Dumars' perimeter defense, Dennis Rodman's rebounding, Bill Laimbeer's toughness, and key contributions from James Edwards, Mark Aguirre, and Vinnie Johnson all played crucial roles in the championship run. The 1990 Detroit Pistons had written their names in the history books. The Bad Boys weren't just champions, they were repeat champions, and their legacy was one of the NBA's greatest teams was secure.